Hey everybody, Kenny Wisdom here, and today I'm going to bring you the Oregon State Championship winning Virizion Genesect list as played by Richard Reynolds. Big shout out to him for giving me the list and talking about it in my newest 6 prizes article, which you can read and I'll link to in the description. But as you can see, it's a pretty standard Virizion list. We have 4 Virizions and 3 Genesects, and for those of you who don't know, the idea behind this deck is that Virizion can use its Emerald Slash attack to do 50 and search your deck for 2 grass energy and attach them to one of your benched Pokemon. Most of the time, whoops, I accidentally changed it to 3 Virizion, but there are 4 on the list. Most of the time, those grass are going to be going on this Genesect EX, which as you can see, not only can do 100 with a 20 spread, but whenever you attach a Plasma Energy from your hand to it, it has a Lysander effect. You cannot attach Plasma with the Emerald Slash attack, and you don't attach them from your hand anyway. But we do have 4 Plasma in the deck to trigger that ability fairly often. Not only that, but Genesect can use a G booster, which as you can see for 3 energy does 200 damage, and you have to discard 2 energy. But with cards like Virizion EX and Energy Switch, that won't be too big of a deal. Interesting things about this list are the Tropius. This, I think, is kind of just a concession to the viability of Seismitoad. Its return does 10 and draws you up to 6, and then Energy Press can do some real damage versus a Seismitoad or really any Pokemon that's trying to load a bunch of energy. Uh, Dedenne is good for Eviltal, Energy Short, again, messes with how many of the energy they have. Eviltal is weak to Lightning. Eviltal actually hasn't been as big of a force lately, at least in my local metagame. So I don't really love the Dedenne here, but I don't think it's terrible either. Jirachi EX, Stellar Guidance, pretty standard, getting you all your supporters. Particularly important in a deck like this, where you want to have access to Skylar, Shadow Triads. And lastly, Deoxys EX, only used for its power connect ability, which makes the Genesect attack do plus 10 more, as he's a plasma Pokemon. The 110 is relevant in a lot of spots. The 210 mostly is not. But the plasma, or sorry, the Deoxys is there in the right matchups. It really can really help. Some issues I do take with the list. I really like having 4 energy switch, and I think that we could have cut a Dedenne or a Tropius or something like that for one. I also really like having 4 versus Seeker. Again, one of those could be cut. Um, but besides that, I like the list a lot, and I did decide to play it as Richard played it, just to kind of show you guys how it worked. We can always change it later and make more videos, but I really like to stick to the actual plan of what the player who won the states was playing. And he did win states. He made the top 8 at 6-2, so barely squeaked in, and then I believe he beat 2 Seismitoads on his way to beating a Virizion in the finals. So, I take a few issues with the list, but I think it's definitely not terrible or anything. Just a few things that I would have liked to have seen done differently, and that's especially relevant because I have hindsight now. Obviously going into this tournament, Richard didn't know what he would see, and he made some good predictions. Obviously, good enough to win the tournament. So yeah, that's the list. We've gone over this deck before, so I don't really need to make an exhaustive review. But we are going to be entering a Pokemon TCG Online 8-person tournament, so definitely just let the playlist roll if you want to see that. Might give you some insight on how to play the deck if you haven't seen that before. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in round 1.